I would like to know from you, Lisa, and you, Miranda, about a little bit more what Kalyani was talking about, the sacral response and how that speaks to you. I want to kind of know, and I want the people to know, like in practice, because it's a little different for everybody once you live it and experiment with it. Like, how does that show up for you? Lisa, you first.
Well, I also have a defined spleen, so I have like a real strong, it's a pretty strong response with my sacral, to just knowing what is resonating with me, what's in alignment for what I want to do. So it's like that gut instinct, that just intuitive knowing, that sense, that strong sense that I have that this is in alignment for me. So it just feels energetically like it's flowing, everything's clicking, like there's no resistance. And there's no trying, there's no pushing, there's no effort that's happening. It's just like I'm in the boat flowing down the river, like I'm just moving. So it just feels good. It feels, like I said, effortless. It feels energetically expansive as well. And it just feels right. So there's just a lot of different kind of signals that I'll get. And then conversely, when it's not in alignment, I'll feel I'll know, like I'm up in my head. I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, well, I'm like thinking of all the different possibilities and all the different responses that I could have, or the ways I could initiate. And then I'm like, okay, that's nothing. I'm just ruminating in my head. I'm not actually responding to something. And then there's like you had mentioned about like it being a drain on your energy. Then there's also like, I can feel like the conditioning of like, well, maybe I should do this, or all the reasons why it would be good for me to do this. But I feel it like pulling on my energy, it's like this drain. So yeah, it does take awareness though. It is a huge practice in awareness and noticing how you're responding to something. How does it feel? And then following through on that. So, one thing I always talk about is there's a lot of waiting in human design. And so learning to wait for that alignment can be a real challenge. But the more you're aware of like those feelings of alignment, the more you'll be more motivated to wait. And I kind of think of it as like, and this happened to me when human design first came into my life. I wasn't ready for it because I was focused on other things. And so I rationalized like, oh, I can't do it now because I'm doing all this other stuff. But as I learned more about it, it was like I discovered that if I don't wait, it's like getting on a train, taking that train, and then I'm no longer there at the train station for the next train that comes along that is the one that's the right alignment for me. So then I miss it because I'm not there. So there's a real nuance to the waiting. Like once you learn more about it, like there is a lot of good reason. There's a lot of good from waiting, but it takes practice because none of us are conditioned to wait. Like nobody that I know in my whole life is like, I love waiting. My favorite thing, nobody loves waiting.
Especially a time bender.
Yeah, right. No, especially time bender. But I think also, when it comes to like my lenses business, and like there's just so much that lends to the whole fortune favors the bold, and a quick decision is a good decision, and make it right later, and that is, to me, there's a lot of myths and a lot of things that just really need to be debunked with that, because yes, the waiting and the response, waiting for that hell yeah is so worthwhile. And it will happen. I think there's this fear for somebody who doesn't have as much experience. What's going to happen? You don't have to, and then you'll be so busy implementing that you don't want to be saying hell yeah to like 27,000 things because you're just like I'm still working on the other stuff, right?
Marla, when did you come out of my head?
But you're right. It's learning to trust because as I just said this in my newsletter, it's like trusting that the universe is infinitely abundant. Like it is everything that you could possibly want and want to manifest is available to you.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to wait? Do you want to just jump on any old crappy chocolate plate now, or do you want to wait for the really, really tasty chocolate that just melts in your mouth? And yes, so that's kind of how I compare it. It's like eat the crappy dollar chocolate now, or just wait for the expensive, tasty stuff that just gets you so excited. Yes, Miranda.
So I actually, since I am a 2-4, I have a lot of practice in yoga as well. I've been a yoga practitioner and teacher for over 10 years. So I actually, before I even found human design, made in 2016, I just saw this today in my post. I actually made the intention of learning to tune into my intuition and follow my gut. Like I'm going to start following my gut now. And that was before I found human design. And in that, I actually found my husband, all within a year. And I didn't even know that that's what I was doing. So for me, with the 2 as well, I love waiting now. I love it, And also for me, what it feels like is it's so interesting because now when something shows up to me, that's a no, I don't even think about it. It's like, no, thanks. I will outsource that. That's going to be too slow. I'm going to get frustrated. It's going to take me a half hour to do. I don't want to do that, But then since I have a defined spleen too, and it's connected to my throat, I also know yes. And I have to say it right then and there. So it's like, I feel it and then it's yes. And I voice it. So it's very fast for me. And if I stop to question, it messes everything up. Even if it was true and I chose not to believe that it was for me and I question it, I've already missed it. I've already missed that boat because I started questioning it. So I've learned to really be in my 2 and hermit away and do all the things I love to do. And then when things respond, feel it and respond right then and there. And I love it because, when I respond to things that are a yes, I have so much energy and I get so much done. And I'm like, what did I even do today? I don't even know what I did, but there's so much. And then it's like, okay, I need rest now. So I'll make sure that I go and I rest and I don't respond any further. And I make sure that my body recovers. So it's just a feeling in my gut. It's like, when I was learning human design, my throat actually kind of dropped into my gut. And I was like, oh, this is it. And then from there, I was connected to my spleen and then my voice. So it's a wonderful thing when you start to connect with what your body feels like, because it's like, oh, my body does know. My body knows. If I just follow my body, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to have energy. I'm going to be aligned. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And the fact that you had sort of picked up on those things before it was almost like human design to an extent would have been a validation or a confirmation of things that, you had discovered, which probably took decades. Like that's the kicker, right? Took decades. And then a chart can tell you in, as quickly as you can learn what it means and says. So I love that.